Do you know what drives the decision of your prospects to buy your products or to engage with your content? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to help you understand just exactly what it is that drives those decisions. Hello, I'm Dana Scranton. And what we're going to be talking about today are the 9 influential variables that drive engagement and buying decisions. Now, this is part of a larger program that I put together called Relationship Relevant Marketing. And it's really targeted primarily at the online marketer and entrepreneur to help them understand what it is that they need to do to get through the barriers that exist today in marketing. And one of the reasons we have barriers in the online world is because of the attention economy. The attention economy has come about because there's so much information flowing to our prospects on a day-to-day basis that they just run out of attention bandwidth. And so their attention is as valuable as the money in their bank account. And so in order to get their attention, to get through the barriers that they've constructed, we have to be relevant. And to be relevant, we have to be able to get noticed. We have to have something that they're interested in, that they want, that's usable to them. And in order to get that information through to them, we have to get through the gateways to their mind. And there's really 2 gateways. There's the conscious intent gateway and the subconscious gateway. So what are those? The conscious intent gateway is really the one where they are consciously, with intent, looking for a piece of information. For example, they're looking for a restaurant to dine at today. So they're online, they're looking for that. And if your content comes along, if it doesn't fit that particular mold or register in the subconscious mind, which we'll talk about next, you're irrelevant in the moment. You're gone. They don't see anything that's interesting to them. If you've been communicating with them, if your communications aren't striking that resonant chord, then once again, they're not going to consume your information. But that first gateway is one of the most difficult ones to get through. Even if you have developed your avatar, your target market persona, if you will, to a fine level of detail, you still don't know what they're going to be looking for on a day-to-day basis. That avatar is broader, it's a greater spectrum of experiences, and that's a lot easier to hit than a single act of intent that your prospect may be engaged in on any given moment. And so now we go to the second gateway. Now, this is where we as online entrepreneurs spend a great deal of our focus, and that is the subconscious gateway. Now, that may sound just a little heady and a little psychobabble-like, but it really isn't when you understand the 9 influential variables that trigger decisions in the subconscious mind. Now, I've mentioned the other gateway, the gateway being that conscious intent. Well, here's a fact. The human mind, despite what many people may think, can only really act on one thought at a time. When you hear people saying they're multitasking, they're really not. What they're doing is they're just going through serial actions in a parallel manner. In other words, they've got 5 things they want to do, and they start the plate spinning over here, and then they start another plate spinning over here, and then they focus here. And then to keep this plate spinning, they have to go back over there and spin that plate. When they're spinning this plate, they can't spin that plate. And so it's not multitasking in a parallel sense, it's multitasking in a serial sense. The reason I mention that is simply this. When your prospect is online with conscious intent looking for a certain piece of information, and along comes a communication from you that resonates with something that's going on in their subconscious mind, that uploads a thought that now becomes the thought of relevant and conscious intent. The reason for that is very simple. The subconscious mind is processing thousands and thousands of thoughts at any given time. It is truly multitasking at the subconscious level. It's taking your needs and wants, desires, aspirations, fears, and it's looking for ways to support and solve your problems. And so when it sees content, when it sees information come across in front of it, it registers that as a relevant bit of content and it uploads that thought at that moment And now your prospect, customer, or client recognizes the content as relevant in the moment. And so they consume it. They click on your link. That's the importance of the subconscious gateway. It's not a mystery. It's going on all the time. And if you take the time to sit back and look at how you react to information, I think you'll find that your subconscious gateway is really what's governing your attention. So, with those two gateways in mind, there are 9 variables of significance. They're influential variables, but these are the 9 significant ones for you, the online marketer and entrepreneur, to understand. These 9 variables operate at the subconscious level. These are the kinds of variables that trigger your prospect to make a decision to engage with you or to buy your product. So let's go over those 9 variables. Now, before I do that, in this video, I'm going to just go over the 9 variables at a top level. And then in subsequent videos, 9 of them to be exact, I'm going to take each one of these variables and break it down a little further. So those videos will be shorter than this one, but we're going to go into more detail. So the first variable, familiarity. Now, familiarity is not perhaps what you think it is. It is not them being familiar with you per se. It's them being familiar with the content that just came before them. For example, whatever your content may be, if in their mind they recognize the topic, they know the importance of it, it resonates with a problem, a desire, a want, a need, that's familiarity. They understand the importance of that particular topic in their life. It may be health and wellness, it may be money, maybe any number of things. They become familiar with you in the process of your communications and experiences. That's familiarity, to be sure, but the familiarity I'm talking about is when you are resonating in their mind with their needs, wants, desires, aspirations, and so forth. And that's all part of you creating your target market avatar. So that familiarity is very important. They say, yes, I'm familiar with the topic. I know it's important. Yes, I'm familiar with that. The next variable is validation. Now, this is very important. Validation means that you acknowledge their value as a person, as a human, as a whatever it may be, as a business person, an entrepreneur, an athlete, whatever target market you're going after. You validate them by recognizing them as a human, recognizing their issues and their problems, their wants and desires, and making them part of your community so it resonates with them. That's validating them. It's validating their thoughts and what they believe to be important. It's validating their values and beliefs. Okay, next is consistency. Now, in your communication and experiences, consistency can have a bandwidth. It can range over a certain degree. But what it cannot do is have disruptive departures that don't add value. Let me explain that. If you have a consistent flow in your communications that is setting a certain expectation, for example, maybe you're into meditation and mindset, and so you have a constant flow of law of attraction kind of information, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you go on a diatribe of political rants. Well, that right there is a significant departure from the consistency of the message that you have been delivering all along, and that just assaults their subconscious mind. Within their mind, it says, whoa, I'm not into this, and you're all of a sudden irrelevant. So being consistent is very, very important. Now, there is a departure point in the world of consistency that is allowable, and that is pleasant surprises. Pleasant surprises that depart from your consistency are okay. Those pleasant surprises, engage them. So that's okay. Just don't make radical departures in directions that have no relevance or value to your prospect. Okay? Next, visualization. The human mind works in pictures and images and graphics. So when you write your content, when you create your graphics and your videos, remember, whatever you are trying to move them towards, whatever decision you are trying to drive them to, reinforce it in a way that allows them to create pictures in their mind of success with you and your product. Allow them to draw the picture of reaching their goals and objectives, or whatever it is that your product is going to do for them. So visualization, very important. Next, mitigation of pain. Now, one of the things that people carry with them a lot is pain, anger, regret. These are not emotions that we really want, but they're part of our lives. And the thing is that, as Anthony Robbins once said, people will either take actions to pursue pleasure or avoid pain. And unfortunately, most people fear living with pain and regret more than they do pursuing pleasure. So they fear the regret, they fear the pain, they fear making decisions that will give them that pain. And so that's always on their mind as to whether or not they want to make a decision to go in a certain direction. If they make a decision to go for pleasure, sure, that's a very positive thing. But what's on most people's mind at any given point is making a decision that could be painful. They don't want to live with that decision. So when you talk about mitigating pain, what you're really doing is communicating to them in a way that reassures them that your content, your product, your service, whatever it may be, has a purpose, and one of the purposes of that product is to move them away from pain. In other words, you're giving them a degree of certainty that they're going to get a result. So mitigation of pain is really bringing assurance to them that your product, goods, and services isn't going to create pain for having made a decision to go with you. Okay, that's very important, mitigation of pain. Now, next is loss aversion. Loss aversion is not perhaps what you may think it is. Once again, loss aversion really refers to not a time period where if they don't act in the next 24 hours, they lose the opportunity. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Loss aversion simply means that in your product, in your communications, you have set an expectation that you can solve their problem, that you can give them a different future, a different outcome in their lives, whatever it may be. And so you want them to believe that they want that change, and they want the change sooner than later. They don't want to go through another day of loss in their lives, of not experiencing the joy, the happiness, the health, the wealth, whatever the situation may be. They want to avert the loss of time, the loss of energy, the loss of focus by doing what it is that you offer. That's the loss aversion. That's the message that you want to craft into there. And so the next variable plays right into that, and it's call to action. Tell them what they need to do to avert the loss. Tell them what they need to do to get the result. Tell them how to expect the result, how to see that they've actually acquired the result. Tell them how to buy your product. Tell them how to engage. Call to action is simply instructing them how to realize the maximum benefit from what it is that you have to offer. The eighth variable is affirmation. This actually takes place throughout the whole communication stream. Affirmation is simply this: affirm to them that they've made the right decision. Affirm to them that they're getting the results that you promised. Because when you do this, what you're training them to do is to continue to make decisions to engage with you. And those continual decisions to engage and to consume your content lead to the decision to buy your product or engage in a more significant way, whatever your end game is. So training the prospect to make decisions by affirming the correctness of their decisions is very important to the subconscious actions that they need to take. And finally, these 8 variables that we've just described fit into the 9th variable, the last one, KLT, know, like, trust. Now, if you've been in the online marketing world very long, you've heard that, know, like, trust. People like to do business with those that they know, they like, and they trust. But most people don't wake up in the morning, whip out their list of who I know, like, and trust. They say, okay, I'm only going to buy from my know, like, and trust list, and here's my list. That's not what they do. It's a subconscious decision. That decision is made up of experiences in the mind that were influenced by the previous 8 variables that we've talked about. So all of those variables have created a picture in their mind of you. And now they know, they like, and they trust you. They do business with you. it's a subconscious decision when they see your content to consume your content. You've arrived, you're KLT, know, like, trust. So these are the 9 variables. And so what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is we're going to take each one of these variables, each of the 9, and we're going to dedicate a single video and a single blog to discussing that variable, how to implement that variable. Now, many of you on this video are in different industries. I mean, affiliate marketing, network marketing, health and wellness, yoga, who knows, carpet cleaning, insurance, real estate. Whatever it is, these variables are critical to you. So it's not possible really to break down each variable into all the industries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these variables and we're going to teach them in general concepts. We're going to put an envelope around them and say, these are the variables, these are how they work, this is why they're important, and give some examples of how you would craft these variables into your communications and your experiences such that you can trigger those subconscious thoughts to upload into the conscious mind so that that particular moment, when they see your content, it registers a thought of conscious intent. So that's really our objective. And this is how you stay engaged in the experience funnel. So until next time, I hope you found value in this video. It's a little longer than normal, but these 9 variables were important enough to get on the table in front of you. So if you want to learn more about this, go to my blog, DanaScranton.com /blog. That'll get you to the general directory. And then what you search for would be 9 influential variables or 9 variables. And it'll pull up an article that has these 9 variables listed, as well as other content that is relevant to it. And then in the coming weeks, there will be a companion blog with each of the videos. So if you did find value in this session today, please like and share on your favorite social media platforms, and stop by DanaScranton.com, leave a comment, check out the training and the content on that site, and reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @DanaScranton. Reach out and let me know any thoughts, questions, ideas, or comments you may have. And of course, you can also go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com /DanaScranton page. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed what you've learned today, and go out and see how many of these 9 variables you can spot on a day-to-day basis in the communications that come your way.